microcosm and macrocosm. Today I would like to say something regarding macrocosmic excellence and vastness, and microcosmic limitations. Whatever we can think of, and whatever we cannot think of, in this vast universe, whatever we know and whatever we do not know of this vast creation, are all within the macrocosmic mind. For him there is nothing external. Everything is being created, maintained, and dissolved within his cosmic mind. This internal psychic world of Brahma appears to be an external world to the finite entities. They have no capacity whatsoever to properly understand the true nature of this vast external universe. The jivas, finite entities, with the help of their indriyas, sense organs, receive the subtle tanmatras, inference, from this vast external world. According to those inferences, and on the basis of the transformation of their mind Svadhyaya, the finite beings try to understand the world, but the true form of the universe remains embedded in the cosmic mind. The form of the world, assimilated by the unit mind, depends entirely on the power of assimilation of the inferences and the proper functioning of the indriyas. The unit mind can be compared to a water bubble in the vast ocean of the cosmic mind. Although these microcosmic imaginations bear some resemblance to those of the original entity, they are not actually original or fundamental emanations. Rather, they are the inferential and nerve-carried reflections of or shadows of the macrocosmic imagination. What we understand by microcosmic mind is only a transformed state of macrocosmic consciousness due to the influence of Prakriti. That's why Saguna Brahma, although he pervades the infinite time, space and individualities, is manifesting the throes and crests of his psychic wave in and through the three relative factors. This is the reason why none of his manifestations are absolute truth. Neither did they exist in the past, nor will they exist in the future. Even a statement regarding the present is not an undisputed axiom. So when properly analyzed, this expressed universe is nothing but a collection of temporary entities, which are undergoing constant metamorphosis according to the sweet wheel of Prakriti. It would be more precise to call those temporary entities shadowy objects, as opposed to original objects. Due to their impermanence and total dependence on the macropsychic imagination, if the mundane objects are mere shadows created by the supreme objective principle, then for the unit minds, this world, perceived as it is through the inferences, is the shadow of the shadows. In the practical world, for the substantiation of one's shadowy existence, other shadows cannot be ignored. Nothing of this world should be ignored, because even though everything is a shadow, it is nevertheless a shadow of Brahma, that is a spatial, temporal, or individual manifestation of his cosmic bearing, and not an inconsequential shadow of the relative world. Hence, to ignore this manifested world is out of the question. While trying to ascertain the proper relationship between the subject and the object, we conclude philosophically that we cannot ignore this manifested world. However, it is a fact that not only is the mind constantly preoccupied with objects, which are merely shadows of shadows, but is proud of the apparent control it has over those shadows. If one tries to assess the real worth of the microcosmic existence in the world, it comes to nothing more than zero. Whatever the endeavor of the microcosmic mind, it can never go beyond the periphery of the macrocosmic mind. If the unit mind does try to expand its power of imagination beyond the periphery of the macrocosmic mind, it will reach the state of non-existence. There is nothing beyond or outside the cosmic mind. The hopes and aspirations, the pains and sorrows, the active endeavor, and the inertness of the unit mind are all within the macropsychic arena, creating temporary ripples within the vast ocean of the macrocosmic mind. The sum total of the microcosmic restlessness does nothing more than to create a few ripples on the surface of the vast cosmic ocean. When the unit mind ideates on the cosmic mind and converts its finite objects of enjoyment, Preya, into cosmic benevolence, Shreya, then that finite unit being, who was a mere water bubble until then, expands beyond its limited form and attains the identity of the ocean. That finite entity, which initially thought of self-glorification, ultimately forgets itself and becomes totally absorbed in the thought of the cosmic entity. It no longer proclaims its own greatness, but heralds the excellence of the supreme macrocosmic entity. The unit beings, due to ignorance, look upon these numerous animate and inanimate entities as finite expressions of that infinite entity. Later in the process of cultivation of knowledge and action, they begin to understand that they are the multifarious expressions of that infinite entity. Still later, when they reach the pinnacle of devotion, they see the Supreme Entity is everything. At that moment, all feelings of discrimination evaporate, all concerns about real and unreal propriety of action and impropriety of action vanish completely from the mind. There remains only the singular urge to serve the Lord with utmost devotion. When the devotee surrenders his or her entire existential feeling at the altar of the Almighty, there remains no further differences, only an unbroken, sweet, blissful ocean in which the Supreme Entity manifests himself endlessly in his innumerable waves. The sweet relation between the devotee and the Lord provides an unending impetus to the ocean of joy. The Supreme Lord remains absorbed in his divine play with innumerable divine manifestations. What is playful for him is meaningful for the unit entity. Sahasrashirsha Purushaha Sahasrakshaha Sahasrapat Sa Bhumim Vishvato Vritvatya Tishada Shangulam Rigveda Purushuktam. The divine entity has an infinite number of heads, an uncountable number of heads. Each entity which expresses intellectuality is one of his heads. No single head can be described as his head, because his head is the totality of all heads. Similarly, the Supreme Entity has innumerable eyes, which assists him in seeing every entity of the universe in innumerable ways from innumerable angles of vision. You cannot do anything unknown to him. Likewise, with the help of his innumerable mental feet, he moves through the entire moving universe. The instrument through which movement is performed is called Sharana, foot. He is the Sharana of the limitless objects of this universe. Of course, these countless heads, eyes, and feet of his have no physical existence. When you want to see something in your mind, you use your mental eyes. Brahma with his mental eyes is watching. His mental indriyas continuing the creation, preservation, and destruction of this universe. Just as you can use your mental head to cook food, and your mental tongue to enjoy its taste, in the same way, Brahma is enjoying his creation internally. There is nothing outside or beyond him. Most of his mental creations are external to you, but all the created objects, including you, are internal to him. When you perform an action, it is either psychophysical or psychic, but in the case of the Supreme Entity, every action is psychic. This quinquelemental world, however vast it may appear to you, originated from macrocosmic mind stuff, Shita, surrounded by the static portion of his mind, and that's why it is circumscribed by limitations. This extremely vast cosmic Shita is not Brahma in his entirety. He is vaster than that. This great universe lies in a remote corner of his endless mind. So the Rishi says that Brahma exists within and surrounding the entire universe, as the macrocosmic Aham Tattva cosmic doer I and Buddhi Tattva cosmic existential I are not bound by the demarcating lines of the static principle. They are infinite, and his witnessing faculty, which is inseparably associated with the infinite macrocosmic mind, is also infinite. But his knowing faculty is also not his total entity. The Rishi has expressed unequivocally that he is established in the supreme blissful stance beyond the domain of the witnessing faculty. Some confusion arises regarding the meaning of the word dashangulam used in the above shloka. Some scholars have given it rather peculiar interpretation that Brahma resides at a place 10 fingers above his universe. The actual significance of the term is best illustrated in the yogic cult. The non-attribution of supreme rank of Paramapurusha is located at the pineal plexus, Sahasrara chakra, 10 fingers above the pituitary plexus, lunar plexus, or Agya chakra, the location of mind as well as Kutushta Chaitanya. By trying to describe the location of the cosmic consciousness in relation to human physiology, the Rishi wants to convey that the cosmic excellence does not end in the mind. Of course, the mind is a powerful controlling entity. Being the controller of the 5 fundamental factors of the human body, it is the controller of the 5 lower chakras, those chakras. Yet it is only located in Agya chakra. The seat of the cosmic consciousness is located 10 fingers above the seat of the mind at the Sahasrara chakra. During sadhana, when the serpentine power Kundalini pierces the pituitary plexus, one attains Savikalpa Samadhi. Still higher at Sahasrara chakra, Kundalini Shakti becomes one with Paramashiva, and one attains the non-attributional stance Kevalam Samadhi.